Happy morning. I just got back from taking Smokie for his walk, and it was so nice out. I just have to say that Smokie is just one of the goodest of boys because he is such an incredible soul. When I first got him, because he's going to be 8 years old soon, but when I first got him, he was very bouncy and jumpy, and he just wanted to play with everyone or everything. And not everybody appreciated that. And so people would make it a point to go way around us when we would walk or, cross the street in a hurried fashion as if he was on the prowl to murk everybody. So, but it's just really incredible having him. And I think and I've always loved him. And so the reason I didn't have him was because of dialysis. And really, it's very difficult in the beginning. And I think any pet really in general, like a cat, would also be the same kind of situation, is that it's hard enough to be interrupted in your life with dialysis. So having a pet is just another thing that's difficult. Now, if you have a partner, it's probably way easier because that partner can then carry on the tasks that need to be done. But one of the major things is like Smokie used to sleep with me all the time. And of course now he can't. In fact, I don't allow him on the bed hardly ever or in my bedroom because he really does need to be not in my bedroom because that's my sterile environment. And so, he's not a dirty dog, and pit bulls have the short hair, so their hair can get places, but it's not like shaggy hair that's going to bring in things necessarily. But if you have a little dog that likes to sit in your lap and likes to be with you consistently or depends on you emotionally, and that's a little bit more difficult because they really can't be like that, because God forbid they rip your port out, right? Just jumping on your lap or whatever. And so I think there's many reasons why it's good to not have animals when you're on dialysis. But once you're comfortable with everything, I think then you can definitely reestablish the relationship. And so my son already had a pit bull that he had rescued from the pound. And so he had the yard, and there was quite a few times I would take Smokie over, like for a couple days, or like when I went out of town, or just to let him run around. And this is when he was already an adult, because he did live in this apartment with me 5 years ago when we first came, and it was with River. So I had two pit bulls in this one bedroom apartment. And we just did what we had to do with them, and so there was a lot of walking. And but Miss River went up to live with her mama because I rescued her, or actually her mom called me and says, "Mom, you got to go get this little puppy. She is so cute. They're going to take her to the pound." And she actually belonged to a doctor and his wife, who are professional people, and at least they were trying to give her a good home because they realized they couldn't. They didn't have the time. And so, be that as it may, I went ahead and took her in. And so then I had the two pit bulls. And then there was a portion of time where we all lived together again. And so I had 3 pit bulls and a German Shepherd. And that was a little bit crazy. But in the end, Miss River and Smokie moved in here with me, and then when Carmi came, she got and took River because I had to go on dialysis, and it was going to be really difficult with 2 dogs. And quite frankly, the adjustment to life at that time, I believe I was doing my first exchange at 6 in the morning. And so being tired because of the kidney failing, and all of those effects, having a newness in my life, it was just like, this is just, I can't take care of both of them. So I had Smokie go over to my son's house, and then River went ahead and went with her mama, which was the plan all along. And doesn't that happen, parents? Where your kid comes home and is like, I love this animal, and then you end up taking care of it. Well, it was always in my vocabulary that this is still your child and you need to come get her because she belongs to you. And really, it was the best thing ever, because I think that pets, if you have raised your kids right, then you have raised them to take care of pets like you would a person or a child, or just a being, because it really taught her responsibility, and it taught her how to not be so selfish with her life. Because when you're single, or when you're a young adult with nothing but your job and friends and stuff, life is very different than when you have to be in charge of something. And so having River was definitely a life change for her, but it helped her, I think, understand the sacrifices you make in life. And now she's a mommy. And so Gus and River have just the most amazing relationship. And I always thought that Smokie was more of the nanny pit, but it's really not true. He loves Charlie, and he'll let Charlie pet him, but he's not really into Charlie crawling on him or pulling on him. He's not disrespectful. He doesn't ever growl. He'll just remove himself, and I'll find him on my bed sometimes, or in Ben's bed, escaping the toddler. Whereas River will lay right there with Gus, and Gus will use her to stand up, or will use her to cuddle up with, or will just hang out with her. And I think that she's realized that he also drops food, so they've become pretty good friends. But it's just so cool. The other night I told Donnie, I said, isn't it really cool how the dog is just so happy to see you? Like, it doesn't matter who you are. They're just happy to see you. And I think that that's just been such an incredible thing, because Smokie really just wants to love. He doesn't like drugs, though, or like if somebody's a pothead, he doesn't like that. And he avoids them, and he doesn't want to be around them, and he'll walk away from them. He just doesn't like that kind of person for whatever reason. I think maybe there's been a couple of gentlemen around that have walked up to him and wanted to pet him, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's friendly. And then he'll sniff them and kind of sneeze and back off, and he just wants to leave. And I know that that's just, he doesn't like that person. But not enough to become aggressive, of course. But when he was a puppy and he was around his irresponsible owner at the time, they thought it was really funny to blow their cigarette smoke or their marijuana smoke in his face. And I think he always remembers that. And so he associates that. He doesn't like it. Yesterday, I was very upset because dog etiquette is a big thing, especially in a complex where you have to understand, usually it's like the dog or the owner with the bigger dog kind of makes a decision on where they're going. I don't know why that is, but that's kind of like this weird underlying situation. And I think because he's large and he's a pit, most people like to scurry across away from us, right? Which is fine. And he's really getting older, and so he's not really so much into jumping around and getting excited. Once in a while he will, but usually I think that's in front of a husky dog that he might want to flirt with. So anyways, but yesterday there's this little sidewalk area where you walk down it and then you go to the playground. And on Mondays, when I meet Glenda, I take him for a very short walk, and he knows he's just got to pee poop really fast because I have to go. And then later on that night, I take him for his longer walk. And so we stopped and he was sniffing something, and then we turned so we could go there, and there was a lady coming with her dog. And so I just stopped, and she looked at me, and then she went around the other way, which I was going to allow her to just, pass us by while I took Smokie a little bit further away. But she ended up turning, and that worked out. And so I took him down the little path, and then, went around the playground a couple times, and then was headed back down the path because my apartment's right there on the corner. And here she came down the path. And so I was almost at the end of it. And so we were going to collide with our dogs. And so she just kept coming. And the dog actually lunged towards us. He wasn't snarling or even really barking, but he did lunge, and he was jumpy, and I think he wanted to play. Smokie then decided, oh, I want to play too. So I had to put myself between the two dogs. Thankfully, there was a bush that we kind of went behind. I got a little scraped up because the bush was in front of the wall of my neighbor's house below me. And I'm like, this poor neighbor's probably trying to sleep because it's like 5 in the morning. And this ruckus is happening. I felt really bad about that. But it's just annoying because it's like, you could have waited and we could have just scooted around, and then he could take your dumb dog. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking, and I was like, why did people not consider it? That's one of my pet peeves, is no consideration. But nonetheless, today I was walking. We're like pretty close to the apartment complex, and a lot of people at this time of the day are walking as well. And then to the right of us is the Fellowship Square, which is the older folks who go out with their little tricksy dogs. They're just very cute little poodles, all kinds of things, very low maintenance dogs, right? But I'm always very worried that their dogs are gonna, act out, or God forbid Smokie scare them or something, and they, run, because I don't know that, Mr. Elderly Man with a cane is going to be able to hold on to this puppy. I don't know. Anyways, it makes me a little nervous, but we always walk on the opposite side of the road, which is a very wide road, so it should be fine. And so he's just tootling along, and then before I realized it, there was dogs on both sides of us. And so I didn't walk in the middle of the street, because I don't want to. He needs to know and to learn and to be trained that he needs to mind me because I'm the alpha. And so as we walked down the road, he did not even pay them any no mind. It was like, he's done. He just wants to go upstairs and have his egg and his breakfast and a drink of water. And the dog owners were just like, and I was just like, leave it. That's my tone for like, let's not cause a ruckus. And so, oh, by the way, I did see the fellow with the 5 dogs today, and so out of etiquette, I stopped, let Smokie sniff the grass. He was very intensely on sniffing. And then the guy saw me, and then he walked by quickly with his herd of dogs. And, that's what you do. I'm not going to insist on going first because I have one dog or whatever the case may be, or my dog's bigger. I was like, whoa, that man, what a warrior, taking out all those dogs. And I don't know if those are his dogs or that's his job. I don't know if he goes around and picks up people's dogs in the neighborhood and walks them around. I don't know what happens. I would like to ask, though. Maybe one day I might do that if I see him and there's a good opportunity for conversation. I don't know. But how very cool. Anyways, I'm going to let you go. That was our adventure. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Be sure to drink your water and have a good day. Okay. Bye-bye.